All right, everyone. So, Scream 7, so far, what we know is that Nev Campbell is reprising her role as Sidney Prescott. Beyond that, don't really know anything else. Everything else is just kind of speculatory or just rumors or murmurs. And you know how that goes. 99.99% of the stuff that's going to come out is just going to be total nonsense. There will be some stuff, I'm sure, as there always is, but most of the stuff is just nonsense. Right now, we don't have any information, right? We don't even know if they've even started the process of hiring people. There's just so much unknown with this upcoming Scream 7. And personally, I love that. I think that is great. It's one of the things that I was most excited for going into Scream 5, right? A little bit into Scream 6, but more so Scream 5. Because I felt like Scream 6, you had an idea of what was to come. But Scream 5, you had no idea. It was like, what are they going to do, right? Is Sydney even coming back? Are they going to have Gail? Like, are they going to go with an entirely new cast? What's the story going to be like? How many Ghostfaces is there? Is it going to end on a cliffhanger? Are they planning on doing a trilogy? What is the deal? What is going to happen in this film? And personally, I felt like they really dropped the ball. I felt like they should have really embraced the freshness and the new start for Scream 5. And instead, they kind of went the remake route. It wasn't a direct remake, but it was in a lot of ways. Same motive, same killer idea, Yeah, you had like the four characters that survived. One of them gets brutally taken out. Like it was just a lot of the same stuff, even almost down to carbon copy scenes. Now there were some differences, there were some slight changes, but I mean, even the studio and the directors and everybody, they all even kind of embraced it as like, hey, this is a love letter to Wes Craven. This is kind of like the fan film. Scream 6 is going to be different. It's going to go a different route. And Scream 6 did a little bit, but it also was still a lot of just the same. Right? There's a lot of Scream 6, or a lot of Scream 2 in Scream 6. And I did think it was sort of a more modern take, right? Scream 5 and 6. I thought it was more modern. I thought it was more darker, a little more brutal. Some of the kills were just epic, in my opinion. Right? I love that, and I want them to continue to stick with that. But we are moving off of the core four, right? You had Scream 6. The story basically concluded itself. Like, I don't think that there's anything left to really up in the air for questions as far as like, oh no, like, there was nothing that was left where you're kind of like, oh, well, they need to resolve that or anything. I felt like you got the closure film. Okay, fine. This upcoming film, gonna have a new cast, gonna have new characters. You're gonna have Sydney, but to me, it's like outside of the Sydney, and that they're gonna want to kill Sid. I want there to be creativeness. I want there to be freshness. I want them to use this as an opportunity to kind of reset everything and pioneer us into like the next wave. Because the beauty of Scream is you don't have to stop after Scream 7. And I'm sure the studios don't want to stop after Scream 7. I mean, they paid like $500 million or something like that for the rights to Scream. I mean, it was for a whole catalog, but Scream was like the big prize, right? And so for them to just say, oh, hey, let's stop. I mean, I'm sure that they're going to, it's probably going to take another 2-3 movies for them just to get their money back from the sale. So to me, it's like you have an opportunity where you had Scream 5 and 6, you concluded that, you wrapped it up. Right now, you can have that kind of fresh, new, in-between film that could potentially start a new trilogy, even where you have, say a Sidney Prescott, and now you have this new group of characters, and then you have this kind of passing of the torch when all is said and done. Right? You're gonna have Ghostface. You're gonna, give us some freshness with Ghostface. Keep the intensity, keep the darkness, keep the level of kills, right? There's a lot of things that I think that they did right in Scream 5 and 6. There's a lot of things that I think they did wrong, but like the tone of Scream 5 and 6 I really liked. And I think that they should keep that type of tone. And in a lot of ways, let's just kind of get back to basics, right? Like, to me, it's keep it simple. Simplicity sells, right? Especially when you're talking a slasher film. You don't need to necessarily big brain this stuff. Keep it kind of confined, keep it within structure, right? Tell a good story, develop good quality characters that we care about, that we don't want to see get brutally killed. Have a character that you're like, yeah, I can't wait for that guy to to get it, right? Have those moments and keep us build the tension, right? Like the original Scream did an excellent job of just setting you up and even diverting expectations at times. And there was moments in Scream 5 that I thought they did a decent job with, like where you had like the similar scene to Tatum. Right? And it's like you think you know what's coming. Oh, boom, they slightly divert it, but it's still a very similar reminiscent scene. Or like Wes's death scene, right? Like I thought that was great, where you kept building the tension. It's like, okay, no, and then the cabinet opens, and then Ghostface is gonna be behind the cabinet, and then the cabinet shuts, and you're like, oh, like man, he's gonna get it. When is he gonna get it? Right, setting the table, so to speak. Right, build that tension, build that aggression, build Ghostface, have Ghostface be a feared monster. Where if Ghostface has its sights on you, that's it. You're done. Right? Put some stakes into this. Like again, Scream, the original Scream did such a good job of just storytelling, building characters through just conversation, dialogue, and just togetherness, right? You had very few scenes, if any, where it was just individuals, right? Like you had the Sydney scene where she's like on the phone and stuff, but for the most part, if it wasn't a Ghostface call, it was a team dynamic, and it was people talking, and you already had the establishment. You already had, okay, here's these characters, and you didn't need to have like this in-depth just, oh, well, this is this. No, it was just like, hey, you're going to learn through the process of these characters and the dialogue. And I thought they did a better job with that in Scream 6 than they did in Scream 5. And my hope is that they're able to continue that, because I do think that there is a lot of potential here for future setup. I do think that there is a lot of potential here to have audiences be engaged and be excited and feel like, okay, let's get reinvested into Scream again, rather than like, oh, here's the seventh film. Usually seventh films are terrible. Like, no, like change the narrative, right? Like, I don't even mind them having this movie have like a subtitle or something, right? Like, let's keep it simple. Let's properly story build, right? Let's use this mystery and unknown to your advantage. You have a real opportunity to have people guessing, right? There's always going to be those inherent things, like Ghostface, for example, right? Say you have 7 new characters outside of like Sydney and Gale, right? Well, Sydney and Gale aren't going to be killers. So it's going to be a group of 2 to 3 in these 7, right? Like, okay, cool. So allow us to, have that misdirection. Allow us to kind of speculate. Allow the audience, because that's what makes Scream fun. It's like, it's a whodunit slasher, right? Embrace that. Tell that story, right? Rather than it kind of just, being so predictable. I don't mind if, one of the killers is obvious or whatever, but like, again, just let's tell a creative story. This to me is an opportunity. And look, if this goes well, they're again, rumors, take it with a grain of salt, but there's rumors that they want to continue to build with Sydney and Gale, which, I mean, I don't mind, but you need to have other characters to build on. Sydney and Gale are only going to last so long, right? Nev and Courtney are only going to last so long. At some point, you're going to need to shift gears a little bit and go in a different direction if you want to continue to make films, which I, as a Scream fan, want them to. The beauty of Scream is it's not the same person. You could do these forever if you can tell a good story, have a good motive, have a good reason, right? And just really build this universe further, right? This is a good opportunity for expansion here. Like, let's expand. Let's clean slate. Here you go, right? You got the returning characters. That's fine, right? But to me, I feel like this should be a passing of the torch film in which this leads into a new generation of characters that we can build a franchise around like they intended with the core four. But the problem is they handcuff themselves so much. Don't do that again. Like there doesn't need to be bloodline ties. There doesn't need to be all this convoluted nonsense. Keep it simple. Tell a good story. Let's go. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? Are you excited? Do you feel like, yeah, like there's definitely this sense of freshness going on? Do you think no? Like it's Scream. There's only so many ways that they go about this. However you feel, whatever your thoughts are. I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel. What are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.